Hello everyone! Welcome back to the channel. The moment the consular officer slides that paper back to you, your heart sinks. It is a feeling many have known. You see the word denied and a wave of disappointment washes over you. You had big plans. Maybe you wanted to see the Grand Canyon. Perhaps you were going to visit your sister in California. Or maybe it was for a once-in-a-lifetime business conference. All those dreams and plans suddenly feel very far away. It is easy to feel lost, confused, and even a little angry. You might ask yourself, what did I do wrong? This feeling is completely normal, but it is important to know that a denial is not the end of the road. This initial shock can be overwhelming. You might replay the entire interview in your head, trying to pinpoint the exact moment things went wrong. Was it something you said? Was it a document you forgot to bring? The mind races with questions, and the answers can seem out of reach. It is a deeply personal moment of rejection, one that can make you feel judged or misunderstood. Remember, thousands of people face this every single day around the world. You are not alone in this experience. The key is not to let this feeling defeat you, but to use it as a starting point for understanding what happened. It is crucial to take a deep breath and step back from the immediate emotion. The decision was not a personal attack on you. Consular officers have a specific job to do, guided by strict laws. They have to make a decision in just a few minutes, based on the information you present. They are trained to look for certain things, and their judgment is based on what they see and hear during that brief interaction. Understanding this context can help shift your perspective from feeling personally wronged to seeing this as a procedural issue that you might be able to fix for the future. So, what would you do if you were faced with this situation? It is tempting to give up, to think that your dream of visiting the United States is over. But that is not the answer. This is a moment to learn and to prepare. The paper you received from the embassy is your first clue. It likely mentions a specific section of the law. This is your starting point. Instead of letting disappointment take over, you can choose to become proactive. You can learn about the process, strengthen your case, and try again when you are ready. This is not just a story of denial. It is a story of resilience and second chances. When you look at your denial letter, you will almost certainly see a reference to Section 214B of the U.S. Immigration and Nationality Act. This might sound complicated and legal, but the idea behind it is actually quite simple. The law requires the consular officer to assume that every person applying for a visitor visa intends to stay in the United States permanently. This is the default starting position. Your job as the applicant is to prove them wrong. You must show the officer that you have strong reasons to return to your home country after your temporary visit is over. It is not about proving you are a good person. It is about proving you will go back home. Think of it like this. You are asking for permission to be a guest in someone's house. The owner wants to be sure that you will leave when you say you will. They want to see that you have your own home, a job, a family, and a life that you are eager to return to. Section 214B is simply the legal way of saying, show me that you are just a visitor. You have to provide evidence that your life is firmly rooted in your home country. This evidence is what we call strong ties. Your ties are the things that bind you to your community, your job, and your family. So what are these strong ties? They can be many things. A stable job is a very strong tie. Owning property, like a house or land, is another. Having close family members who depend on you, such as elderly parents or young children, shows you have responsibilities at home. Being enrolled in a school or university is also a significant tie. Even your social connections and your reputation in your community can count. The officer is looking at the whole picture of your life, not just one single piece of it. They want to see a life so full and stable at home that leaving it permanently would simply not make sense for you. It's important to understand that this is not about how much money you have in the bank. Many people think a large bank account is the key to getting a visa, but that is a common myth. While you need to show you can afford your trip, having a lot of money does not prove you will return. In fact, a large, unexplained amount of cash could even look suspicious. The focus is always on your connections to your home country. Proving these ties is the central challenge of the visa interview. You must convince the officer in a very short time that your visit to the United States is just one chapter in a life you are building back home. Now that we understand Section 214B, let's look at why people often fail to overcome it. The most common reason for denial is not providing enough evidence of strong ties. An applicant might say they have a job, but they don't bring a letter from their employer or recent pay stubs. They might mention they own a business, but they have no business registration documents or tax records to show for it. Simply saying you have ties is not enough. You must bring clear, credible documents that support your claims. The officer cannot just take your word for it. They need to see the proof right there in front of them. Another major issue is inconsistency. This is a huge red flag for consular officers. Let's imagine you wrote on your application form that you are going to visit your cousin, but in the interview, you nervously say you are going for tourism to see New York City. This contradiction immediately creates doubt. Why are the stories different? The officer might think you are hiding something. It is essential that the information on your DS-160 application form, the documents you provide, and the answers you give in the interview all tell the same consistent story. Everything must match perfectly, from your travel dates to the purpose of your trip. Sometimes, the problem is a lack of clarity about your travel plans. If the officer asks you where you plan to go and you say, I don't know, maybe just travel around, it shows a lack of serious planning. It can make your trip seem less credible. A genuine tourist or business visitor usually has a basic itinerary. You should know where you will be staying, what cities you plan to visit, or what conference you will attend. You don't need a minute-by-minute schedule, but you do need to show that you have thought about your trip and have a clear, believable purpose for visiting the United States. Finally, a weak or poorly prepared presentation can lead to a denial. This isn't about being nervous. Officers expect that. It is about being unprepared. If you fumble through your documents, cannot answer basic questions about your own job, or seem unsure about your reasons for travel, it creates a poor impression. It suggests that you are not taking the process seriously, or worse, that you are not being truthful. Practicing your answers and having your documents organized in a neat folder can make a world of difference. It shows the officer that you are a serious applicant who respects the process. So, your visa was denied. What would you do now? The good news is that you can always reapply. There is no formal appeal process for a 214B denial, but there is no limit to how many times you can apply. However, it is very important that you do not rush to reapply the next day. You should only reapply after your situation has changed in a significant way. The officer has already made a decision based on your circumstances. If you apply again with the exact same information, the result will likely be the same. You need to take time to figure out what was weak in your last application and fix it. Your first step is to carefully review what happened. Think about the questions the officer asked and the answers you gave. Look at the documents you presented. Were they strong enough? Did they clearly prove your ties to your home country? This is the time to gather stronger evidence. For example, if you mentioned you own property, get the official property deed. If you have a job, get a detailed letter from your employer that states your salary, your role, your start date, and that your leave was approved. Collect more documents that paint a clearer picture of your stable life at home. Next, you must check everything for accuracy and consistency. Go over your new DS-160 application form with extreme care. Make sure every single detail is correct and matches your supporting documents. Your name, date of birth, your job title, your salary, everything must be perfect. If you are traveling with family, make sure all your applications tell the same story. This attention to detail shows that you are a serious and organized applicant. It helps build the trust that is so essential for a successful interview. A single inconsistency can unravel your entire case. Finally, prepare yourself for the interview. This means more than just gathering documents. It means truly understanding your own case. Know the details of your trip. Be ready to explain, clearly and confidently, why you want to visit the US and why you will definitely return home. You can practice answering common questions with a friend or family member. When you stand before the consular officer again, you will not just have better documents, you will have more confidence. A denial is disappointing, but it can be a valuable lesson. With careful preparation and a stronger case, you can turn that no into a yes. Contact us if you need help with interview preparation or need visa guidance. Contact details in the description. Good luck!